Hello and welcome to Gil Evans Inside Out, and in this video I'm going to try and harmonize like Gil Evans. The reason I thought I'd do this video is I haven't seen many other people approach harmonization in the way I do, and in the way I've studied how Gil Evans might do it. Let me know if you like the video, because then I'll do some more and go into greater detail. The example I'll use in this video is from the standard When I Fall in Love. So I'm going to take you through my process of how I attempt to try and harmonize like Gil. And so first we've got to start with the rules. These rules are definitely made to be broken, but they're a good starting point. Rule number 1, write the bass line or the bass horn first. Rule number 2, the bass and the melody shouldn't be the same pitch. You can see how this rule might be hard to not break, but again it's just a starting point. Rule number 3, after you've done the melody and the bass, you'll fill in 3 inner parts to make a 5-note chord. Rule number 4, don't repeat the same note in the same part in a row. And again, these rules are definitely made to be broken. So here's my example, just 2 bars of When I Fall in Love, just here. And you can see I've repeated it over and over, just for the purpose of this video. By the way, I usually always do this in pencil at the piano. I find it to be way faster than on computer. Okay, so on to writing the bass line or bass horn first. Now I'm going to assume that this is just for a traditional sort of big band instrumentation. So this line would be a baritone line or a bass trombone line. So for the bass line, you want to use good melodic writing. It needs to make a good melody on its own. That's one thing I've really noticed about Gil's harmonizations. I like to think of the bass line as a melody inverted, almost like the highest notes of a melody will sort of equate to the lowest notes of the bass line. So contrary motion is strong, and make sure you consider the tessitura. The higher the bass line is, of course the lighter the texture will be, and the lower it will be more rich and weighty. If you've looked at my blog before and the way I analyze Gil's harmony, you'll notice that I pick out certain chords as target chords, and I do the same when I approach a harmonization. So in this example, we've got a 1, 6, 7, a 2 and a 5. The chords I want to sound really good and rich will be the target chords. So I'd consider it to be the A7 in this instance, and of course the D7 and G7. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the bass notes for those right off the bat. Now you can see most of the notes, or half the notes, have been done, so that makes things easier. If you decide that the target chord should be in a different place, you could do that. Maybe you do the C or just the G7. It's up to you. Okay, now to write in the bass line. So I think it's obvious I should start with a C here, and we start to get a shape of this melody. Okay, C, I could step down a B and then the A. That could work nicely. I could think of it as a tritone substitute and go for the B flat. That's always a good sound. I think I'll start with that. Now, what to do with this note? It's likely I'll be coming up to the D in some way. I could have a C here. Then I'm repeating that note. That's not the end of the world. Could definitely try it, though it could sound okay. This is what that sounds like. And with the melody, pretty good. I think it can be improved slightly, either by sharpening it or maybe making it a B natural. I'm going to try both. Here's with the B natural. Okay. C sharp. Yeah, it sounds good. It leads nicely to the D. The only thing I'll have to watch out for is when I consider the inner parts here is that C sharp will hint at the top half of this A7, and I might have a lot of repeated notes, which is our rule number 4. But that's okay, I think I'll leave it for now and go with that. So just before I carry on, a note about the tessitura of this bass part. It is fairly low, but this is a ballad, so I want it nice and big and rich. This is a nice range for this speed. So that first one went really smoothly. I think I'll try another bass line though, because I usually don't stop at one. I like to keep doing a few options and see what I can come up with. So this time I'll put in the target notes again, but we might use a substitution, which of course is well allowed. What if I did something like that? We tritone sub that D7. You can see the line takes on a different look already. Let's have a go. I still think stepping down through this is a really good option, through the C to the B flat to A, and you can see I can't continue going down here. I don't want to repeat my A, so I have to think about what to do. I could go for the D. You sometimes see this sort of thing. The only thing I really have to watch out for here is if I'm thinking of this as a D7, it's going to share a lot of notes in common with its tritone sub. So you can sometimes get into trouble there, but otherwise I think this would sound rather good. Here's what it sounds like. Actually, I don't think it sounded as good as I thought it was going to. Here's just the bass line. No, I don't like it. I'm going to scrap it. Let's try do a tritone sub on the A7. See what options we get there. You can see how low that's going. Again, I think that's okay in this instance. I'm going to put that C there. Now how are we going to get down to this E flat? Well, let's just use a sort of a diatonic note that's going to step down. I'm going to try the F. That might be good. And then we've got this next quaver. Again, I could do C sharp like before. That could work. But maybe we'll try something different. Maybe we'll go for an A. A little bit like a mini 2/5. Here's what that sounds like. Just the bass line. And with the melody. I don't think it's as satisfying as the first example. Partly because the interval here is not as rich as in the first example. Here we've got a nice sixth, which makes it sound nice and rich. It is interesting, but not quite as successful. Now I'm going to continue on with the next stage, which is to add the 3 inner parts. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, otherwise this video is going to get too long. But yeah, let me know if you want to see some more. I want 3 distinct pitches to end up with a 5-note chord on each. So again, I start with my target chords, just like I did with the bass line. For me, this chord here is crying out for one of these. I think that'll sound nice, an A7 augmented sharp 9. Now over here at the G, we've got a wee problem because the G7 would clash with the C, but it's just there in the standard of the melody. So I'll probably end up making that some sort of sus chord. So the D7, let's keep it really simple. Just make it a D9 and the G, a G sus 9. That's a good place to start. Let's hear what that sounds like with those target chords. Yep, sounds good to me. Alright, let's carry on. The C seems the next best place to go, and I'm going to put a 9th in there, and here you've got an option. You could go for the major 7th or the major 6. This is just where you would use your ear and choose what one you like. I'll go for the major 7 for now. I think this chord here should be the more obvious B flat 9. That should sound good. Here's what that sounds like so far. Yep, sounding good. This is where I definitely have a look at the inner voices too, making sure they're making some melodic sense. Again, not repeating same note in the same voice. So for instance, this alto line, E, A flat, C, they'll be fine. This baritone line, let's say B, D and C sharp. Good, they're all doing fine. Right, this next one, the C sharp, we're getting a little bit trickier because you could look at this chord and think, great, we could have some sort of minor or diminished, but the diminished is going to contain some of the same notes as this A7. Let's see. B flat should be fine. Yeah, the flat and fifth is the same as this G, so we're going to have to do something there. And I don't want this E because it's the same as the melody. Also, it would be repeating a part here. So we get into a bit of a pickle with the C sharp diminished. I would try voicing the chord differently. We put in the major sevenths and there the 11th. That's definitely an option. So we've got a sort of a maxed out diminished chord with a major 7th, 11th, the double flat 7 and 3rd there. Here's what that sounds like. Yeah, so that chord's not sounding that great, especially in isolation. Again, it's only a quaver, so sometimes the good bass movement lets you get away with those, but I think we can find a better option. Another option would be to make it some sort of 7th chord. We put the flat 7 here, the 3rd there, and that could be the 13th and the sharp 9. That should sound better on its own. Here's the chord on its own. Yep, better. And we check out the leading. B flat will fall to the A, F to the F sharp, B up to the E. That should be fine. Here it is all together. And that's good. I'll keep that. I think that sounds good. You'd have the option of changing some of these notes and changing what sort of chord that is. You could take that to an A, but then you've got the repetition of an A, or sorry, an A flat. In this case, it would be an A flat, and then that would become A natural there. That might be nice. You could try all of them out and see what you like. It's amazing how often the better inner line, in terms of just isolating that part separately, makes the harmony sound better. So the alto voice in this case would be E, A flat C, A flat A to A. It'll probably sound good. Before we had the B flat. Let's see what that one sounds like. Not too bad. Actually, what it's making me think about doing is flattening this A. And I think that'd be something Gil might be into as well. Here's just the alto line. Here it is all together. Excellent, and there you have it. Just 2 bars of When I Fall in Love. So here's the final example, and big shout out to my buddy Ross, who is playing the saxophones for me here. I didn't think I was going to hear it played by instruments, so it's going to be a lot nicer than having it played by piano. Check it out. Just for the purposes of the orchestration, here is what the final solution was, but I've also doubled the melody down an octave just so it's got a bit more strength when it's being played by the saxophones. And here is each part laid out separately. Enjoy.